Hey friend, Church D coming at you once again. Thank you for tuning in to What Does It Take to Win? Well, first I'd like to start off by saying Happy New Year. I know, we're pretty much done with the year 2022, but I thought I'd say that. I left you guys for so long without a podcast to listen to. Might as well give you the proper greeting, right? I've been kind of tied up over these past several months. A lot of really great things have happened to me. Not to mention I recently got married. So I'm really excited about that. This has just been an amazing journey and a testimony. I'll hopefully be able to share a little bit more of that in, a different episode a little bit later on. And of course, I'll bring my wife on if she wants to. Who knows? Maybe not. I don't know. It's all up to her. But I've just been doing a lot of great things. A lot of different changes have been taking place. Honestly, I've just been blessed. Overall, God has been blessing me. So this is really exciting. I just wanted to come back on here and, share with you some of the blessings that I've been receiving, and hopefully encourage you to just go after your dreams and to, reach the goals that you've set for yourself, to give you some practical tools, obviously, that you can apply to everyday life in the pursuit of reaching your goals. So I figured it'd be best that I share with you what I've learned during this brief hiatus from podcasting. So I'll do just that in this episode. But before we jump into it, I'd like to say that if you need beats, instrumentals, etc., feel free to click the link in my description. It will take you over to my beat page, soundclick.com/churchd. I have over 140 instrumentals available for download right now, right this minute as you're listening to this podcast. I also started doing private piano lessons. So if you're interested in that, I have a 7-week course that will jumpstart you into playing piano, into being really successful at it. We'll meet once a week, obviously, for 7 weeks. And before you know it, you'll be playing piano. So you can actually, again, click the link in the description. It will take you right to the course and you can purchase that. And then we'll connect after you purchase it. Also, you can purchase my original music. I have a single by the name of Don't Quit, an album by the name of Something's Missing, an EP by the name of The Big Reveal, another single by the name of The Vision, and of course, an album by the name of The Cactus, Bare Minimum 2.0. If you're looking for my music, again, just click the link in the description and it will take you to that. Also, if you feel like this podcast has been a blessing to you, or, you just wanted some advice to give others, but you didn't quite know how to tell them or, how to put it into words, but I've helped you on this podcast and you're saying, hey, I want to donate some money to a greater cause. Again, click the link in the description and you'll be able to send me a donation, whether it's through Cash App or PayPal. And I'll receive it. Obviously, I'm not asking you for money. It's just if you would like to do so, I'm not going to stop you. Okay, so I figured I'd just get that out the way really quickly before we jump into the topic of the hour, or like I like to say, the 15 minutes. So this episode is entitled Baby Steps. And basically, baby steps, we're just going to be talking about how you can accomplish great things by taking it one step at a time. It's a principle that I've applied to my life probably since grade school up until now. And it's been really beneficial to my overall success. I can honestly say I've done a lot of great things. I've made many accomplishments just by taking baby steps. And if this is something I can do, then how come you can't do it as well, right? So yes, let's jump right into this. So the name of this episode is entitled Baby Steps. So have you ever had a vision to do something great, but you often felt overwhelmed, like pretty much expecting the process to be very difficult or even impossible to complete? I know I have. It's almost like the amount of opposition that you're going to endure will be too much for you to handle. So sometimes you might even quit before you get started. Like mentally, you've accepted defeat. It actually doesn't have to be like that. In fact, one of my favorite methods of reaching my bigger goals is taking baby steps. This podcast is simply me taking baby steps. This is episode, I want to say number 36. Okay. And I've been doing this for the last 4 years. And where did this start? I remember I used to play for a church in Rhode Island. And I was about 19 or 20 at the time. And I think I've spoke about this before, but here's just a quick, refresher on it. I was walking in to play piano, and one of the gentlemen there greeted me. He said, "Hey, how you doing, brother?" So I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And he was like, "Whoa, I didn't expect you to sound like that. You have the perfect voice for radio." And 1920, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm trying to get through school right now. So let me just go and play and collect my check, right? I didn't think too much of it, but that sort of stayed in my mind as the years went by. And I was like, he says I have a voice for radio. Okay, I wonder how I can get into radio. I would do radio if, the opportunity was presented to me, but I don't really know people who do that stuff. And the ones that I kind of know that do radio, they're not really people I want to be around, you know what I'm saying, doing radio. But that's another story. So fast forward to 2018, I said to myself, I was like, I wonder if I'd be able to set up like a podcast or something related to radio. Maybe I can just stream it on the internet or whatever. So I did the research. I figured out what it took to create a podcast, and I just began to get all these ideas and, visions just downloaded into me that I was like, wow, I really need to share this with some people. Hopefully it'll offer some good advice and, good insight on how to handle problems and really just to achieve our goals. And the rest is history. It was just a quick baby step of me doing some research and figuring out, okay, what do I need to do in order to get started? Then once I figured that out, I started, just talking. Well, obviously I got my thoughts together first, but then I started talking and, one thing led to the next. I found out that I'll be able to share it to different platforms and that it'll really be able to reach across the world. And, just from checking my analytics, this podcast has gone all the way out to Australia and Japan and even Eastern Africa, and that to me is incredible because I'm just here on the East Coast of the United States. And I'm able to reach people that far without even having to get on a plane. So that's a little bit of a rant, but you know how I do with my rants, right? It's 2022 and I'm still ranting. Get used to it, right? But yeah, it's incredible how, just a baby step has taken my voice from the eastern part of the United States all the way far to Australia, all the way far to Eastern Africa, and different countries in Asia. So it's incredible. And like like you know me to do in the past, I have 3 points, and I'm just going to expand on each point. So the first point is that a little bit goes a long way with taking baby steps. The second point is you have to crawl before you can walk. And the third and final point is simple. Just track your progress. Okay, so now let's begin to unpack. First off, let's start off by defining a baby step. Now, a baby step, as I saw on Google, because that's what I do, I sort of just Google things and research it and, try to get the definition. So the way it's defined, and I believe it's from like the Oxford's definition, a baby step is a noun, a tentative act or measure, which is the first stage in a long or challenging process. Okay? Take the phrase literally and think of how a baby first takes their steps, right? Just think about it literally. Babies, they usually stumble a bit and they don't appear to be very secure or stable at first, right? But they take it slowly and they keep going. That first step is progress towards their goal of walking and then running. So now, you and I, as we are taking our first step, we might not be very secure in what we're doing. We might not even be very stable. Oftentimes, we're pretty fearful of taking that first step. I know I was. But that first step is what really leads you into your destiny. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper. As I mentioned, the first point is a little bit goes a long way. Here's 2 examples. Let's look at music. So when I'm creating music, I have to start with a sketch. And sometimes I'm a little bit too busy and I might have other responsibilities that I have to take care of. So it's not like I'll always have time to just sort of sit down for hours and create the song from start to finish. I may start with a drum pattern and a bass line, or maybe just some chords first, and just, walk away from that and come back to it. So I'll load up my music production software. Somebody might have said, hey, I want you to produce my song, etc. They'll send me a voice note. I'll play the voice note. I'll hear the vocal inflections. I'll hear the melody, etc. I'll try to figure out what key it's in. And then I'll just lay down some chords or a bass line or a drum pattern. That way it's just one track and their vocal. Okay, cool. We did something. And I'll have to walk away from it and take care of some other responsibilities. All right, cool. So once that foundation's laid, and then I do come back, I'll add a little bit more instrumentation bit by bit. As I near completion of the instrumentation, it's now time to arrange the song. So now we have to start thinking about, well, mostly me. I'll have to start thinking about the introduction, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, if I'm going to put a vamp in there, etc. And even that isn't done in just one session. I have to do it bit by bit. So I might play that song over and over and over and say, oh, okay, this is what a good intro will sound like. And then start recording one instrument at a time for the intro. So I'll start off with like a piano, then I'll add bass lines, then I'll add more layers to it, maybe some horns, maybe guitar, and so on until the intro sounds full. Okay, great. That's taken care of. Now I'm going to have to do the same thing with the verse and then with the chorus. Some instruments will play during the chorus. Some instruments won't play. Everything will be there during the verse. Some won't, and so you just sort of I have to think about, stuff like that. And pretty much I can't do it all at once, but I'm taking baby steps. So I'm not, becoming overwhelmed. I have to make it a point to keep my mind clear so that I'm not first defeated in my mind. And that way it won't, play out into the music saying, okay, mentally I'm defeated. Now the song is going to be defeated and it's not going to sound good and I'm going to have unhappy clients. No, we don't want that to happen. So again, baby steps are key. That's crucial. So after the arranging is done, now it's time for the mixing process. And once again, we can't do all of that at once. I might mix one track at a time. I might, just do a static mix. For those of you who are into music production, you know what that means. And again, we're just inching bit by bit, baby steps. Believe it or not, though, this process happens a lot faster than it sounds, but only because, like I said, I'm taking baby steps. Sometimes when you're trying to do everything at once, that actually slows down the process and it leads to a burnout. Okay, so again, you don't want to mentally be defeated because it's going to play out in your work. Now, here's a second example. So now we've already talked about music. Let's talk about how I was doing a certification to become a certified mental health coach, right? So, and this was during the pandemic, right? So in order to pass the certification, I had to complete 3 levels, right? Containing multiple sections, right? So this course, it took me about 6 months or so to complete it. And it was self-paced, right? So meaning if I failed to complete it, it was completely my fault, nobody else. So I'd have to eat that blame, but no problem. Each lesson that was attached to this course was about an hour or so on average. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't overly long and it definitely wasn't short. It gave you just enough information that you could use to, apply to helping people, to being a people helper. So I made it a point to devote at least 1 or 2 hours each day, Monday through Friday, to focus on that course. Now, if you're familiar with school, like college, you take more than 1 to 2 hours if you're a full-time student. I can't remember. Let's think. I've been out of college for so long. So how many classes would I have? Well, we'd have several classes a day, and it would equate to at least 4 to 6 hours of school a day. So this 1 to 2 hour thing, obviously it doesn't sound like a lot, but it played out nicely because I completed it. Those were my baby steps. 1 hour here. Okay, I'm done. And then sometimes if I had a little bit of extra time on my hand during the week, I might devote a little bit more time and do something extra just to make some more progress. I'd complete one section, do the quiz, and then I might jump into the next session and not take the quiz. I might just sort of study that and then take the quiz the next day. So just, again, baby steps, get a little bit done, chip a little bit off of the mountain each time until it's worn all the way down, and so on. So that seemed to be like a lot for the first point. So I think what I'll do is I'll speed through the next 2 points because I don't want to keep you guys on this episode too long. But again, it's been such a long time. I have so much that I would like to unpack, and it's sometimes impossible to do all of that in just 15 minutes. So please bear with me. I can always do a part 2, but if you have more questions, you could shoot me an email. So yes, that was point 1. We're going to move right along to point number 2, which simply says you're going to have to crawl before you can walk. As I mentioned in my first point, about babies walking, before they can walk, they usually crawl first. I don't think I've seen any babies just sort of get up and start walking. If I did, that might scare me a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, you're going to have to crawl first. So let's apply this same principle to ourselves, right? I'm going to use fitness as an example this time. So when you first start your fitness journey, your body isn't used to doing certain exercises and movements. Let's think about running, more importantly, running a mile. It's nothing too crazy, but it's really good cardio for you. It sort of, it helps your body to hold its shape, and it really opens up your lungs and builds strength in your heart, right? Okay, so let's talk about running a mile. So yeah, while some can jog or even run or even sprint a mile, you may have trouble just power walking 400 meters. And it's okay. I wasn't always in shape. There was a time in my life where I struggled to complete 400 meters. Now, for those of you who don't run, usually 400 meters is just one lap around the track, right? And I think it's about 4 laps around the track that will complete a mile, depending on how large the track is, right? So 400 meters, that's just one lap. I used to have difficulty just jogging that. When I was younger, I would be out of breath. I could probably jog half of that, and then I'd have to walk the rest. But there's nothing wrong with that. So your first time around the track, you may be out of breath. But the more you push yourself bit by bit, the more your body becomes conditioned. So let's say you start off by, walking the whole mile. So you walk the full 4 laps. You do that, let's say, for a few weeks. All right, maybe 2 weeks. Then week number 3, you decide to push yourself. You're going to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to jog 100 meters, which is just the straightaway. Okay, that's not half the track. It's just a quarter of that first lap. And then you notice, okay, I'm out of breath, but you keep pushing yourself. You may do that for another 2 weeks. Then you say, okay, I'm starting to get used to this. Now I'm going to start jogging 200 meters. And that's half of the track. Okay, now we're making even more progress. We're going to jog half, and we're going to walk, and then we're going to jog, and then we're going to walk. Now your body's getting more and more used to that, and you're now able to jog the full 400 meters and then the full 800 meters. So now you're able to do 2 laps around the track jogging and 2 laps around the track walking. Guess what? You're taking baby steps. You're not getting out there trying to jog or trying to sprint the whole mile. You're allowing your body to become stronger. You're allowing your heart to your heart health to improve. Your lungs are opening up more and more. And you're becoming that better version of you. You're becoming more and more fit. And before you know it, you'll be jogging a full mile in no time. Why? Because of the baby steps. Same thing with lifting weights. You're not going to get into the gym and start doing bicep curls with 50-pound dumbbells, right? That's not going to happen. Your arm might fall off. You might have to start off with 20 or 25, and you curl, and you just keep curling, and then you'll feel a lot of pain at first, but that's just the muscles rebuilding itself, saying, okay, we're going to get stronger. So next time you're going to add 5 pounds and then another 10 pounds and so on until you reach that goal that you're making strides towards. Okay. So that's basically it for point number 2. Let's move on to point number 3, which is, it's more of like a reminder type of point. Basically just track your progress. It's okay to stop and look at the progress you've made and use it as motivation. I'm pretty sure I did another episode talking about how it's important to remember. So this applies again to the baby steps. track your progress, look back. What I like to do is take videos. I like to take videos of where I started, and then once I've reached where I think I want to be, obviously, there's always more to obtain, but once I get to a part where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see the progress that's being made, I look back at the older videos and I see how far I've come. And then I also look at, the parts that I did very well that have carried over, and then the parts that needed improvement. And then some more parts that require improvement that I have yet to touch. So it's almost like looking in the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, okay, well, I need to cut my hair a certain way, or I need to take care of my facial hair. Okay, this time it looks good like that, but the next time I'm going to try this style and it's going to look even better on me, and so on. Another great way to track your progress, believe it or not, is to write things down and to even do some journaling. I'm not too big on writing things down all the time. Like, if I have an idea, I'll do that, and then I can just sort of circle back to that. But that might be your thing, to sort of just journal and to write down ideas and really track your progress that way. I know for me, like with being in music, thankfully I'm able to release, singles and albums, EPs, etc. And that, to an extent, is my journal. That's my digital journal, my musical journal, if you will, where I could sort of look back and see the progress that I've made. I do it now. I listen to my music all the time and I say, okay, this is what I could have done differently. So the next time I put out music, this is how it's going to sound. Or I might even look back and say, wow, you did a great job. Make sure you apply the same principle to your next projects and just take it to the next level, and so on. So that way I'll always have something to refer back to whilst taking my baby steps. And you can do the same thing as well. Journal it, capture videos, or if you're into music and production, etc., listen to your old beats, listen to your old production that you did for people who called you, listen to instrumentals, listen to your own original music that you put out as an artist, and so on. Okay. So that was the third and final point. Let's just do a quick recap. So point number 1, I was basically explaining how a little bit goes a long way. Obviously, Rome was not built in one day, and I'm pretty sure I've said this again and again and again. A little bit goes a long way. So you're just going to have to start off with a sketch, and then before you know it, you'll have the whole masterpiece drawn. Point number 2, you're going to have to crawl before you can walk. You're not going to be able to run a marathon or even sprint 400 meters if you don't first condition yourself to do so. Start with a little bit and then gradually increase. And the third and final point is to track your progress. It's okay to stop and look at the progress you've made, and it's okay to look back at some of the mistakes you made. It's also good to draw inspiration from the great things you've done in the past, and just use that to continue building and really take things to the next level. So any goals that you have in mind that might be a little overwhelming, that you might even feel like you simply can't achieve it unless you have like a miracle happen in your life. I'm here to tell you that yes, a miracle can totally happen, but also you can take baby steps, and before you know it, you're going to be at the finish line. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope it blessed you and I hope it encouraged you. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to share this. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with people you don't even like. Share it with that person who keeps bothering you for advice. I got you covered. And lastly, if you'd like to connect with me, just click the link in the description for all of my content. I have some great things in store for you. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.